Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160EN podcast. This is podcast number 41, and it's going to be a small panel, but a good panel nonetheless, if I do say so myself. It's me, obviously, Danny, and I'm also joined by Chris. Chris, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Looking forward to it. Let's get after it.
Yeah, for sure. And, we were supposed to have a bit more people, but a few things fell through, and then obviously, or not obviously, but our boy Steph is somewhere having too much fun with his wife in Las Vegas in Sin City. So we wish him all the best. So shout out to you, Steph. And before we get on this podcast underway, I just want to say our thoughts and prayers to the family of former Sporting player Luis Paez. I hope I pronounced that right. Who played about 5 games with us back in 2007, 2008, but who tragically died in a car accident in his native Paraguay. So our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family, and rest in peace, Leon. Now onto a bit more happier news. Sporting beat Rio Ave 3-0 over the weekend. Starting 11 was as followed: Renan Ribeiro in net, Christian Borja left back, Mathieu Coates in center back, Ristovski at right back, with Wendell, Goudelli, and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield, and then Marcos Acunha, Luis Felipe, and Diaby up front. Chris, what did you think of the game, bro?
Yeah, I mean it was a performance that we haven't really seen from Sporting in a while. It was very not stressful on the viewer. It was very easy on the eye. It at no point in the game did it ever seem like it was in doubt at all. We controlled the game. We controlled the tempo. I mean, we weren't creating an abundance of chances, but even in the first half, it just felt like we were just gonna, walk through them. Obviously, Rio Ave isn't as strong this season as they've been in past seasons. We were playing at home, but I definitely feel like this was the most comfortable win that we've had in a long time. So it was good to watch this type of football. And although Bruno Fernandes did come alive a bit more after, I would say, probably like the 30th minute, and probably put in another man of the match effort in that span of time, it didn't even feel like he was having that great of a game at first. So it was refreshing to see our team coming together and playing. That counterattack on that first goal was absolutely lethal. Started with Luis Felipe, ended with Luis Felipe.
Yeah.
Great finish, great run. I mean, you'll never see that from Bastos, just not the player that he is. So it's good to see Felipe playing well. We might have a striker controversy on our hands once Bastos gets fit again. And yeah, it was just very, very relaxing, and I'm glad that we were able to get back to this football. It felt like a late December Kaiser game.
Yeah, agreed. And man, like you said, Luis Felipe, he started off the play, gave it to Wendell. Wendell passed it back to him. That's three goals in 3 games since international break. So Chris, is he convincing us yet? Is it, or is it too soon to really tell?
He's definitely convincing me a little bit by bit, that he has a place in this team. Because at first I wasn't even sure if he was ever going to be a player that really stuck around at Sporting, or if he was going to get loaned out to Vitória de Setúbal next season, and then after that maybe get loaned out to Paços Ferreira. So I wasn't sure if he would actually be a player that we even had on our roster, or just one of these loan Voyager type players. But yeah, he's convincing me bit by bit. Maybe he's not quite the starter that we have, but he's proving to be, an effective option, and I definitely think that he deserves a place in the first team for next season.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's like you mentioned earlier. He's not Bas Dost type of player. Like you said, the goal he made over the weekend isn't something Bas Dost would have done. I don't think Bas Dost would have the pace to blow by his defender like that. Whether his defender has a ton of pace or not, you know what I mean? It's not even that Luis Felipe has a ton of pace or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, like you said, a different sort of style of striker, which is good. I think Sporting needs more variety. And I think, like you said, yeah, I'm not convinced by him as a maybe a starter, not as of yet at least, but definitely has a role to play. Whether that's off the bench, whether that's rotation, like now with Bas Dost out, whether that's Bas Dost under bad form and Luis Felipe can fit the system maybe even a bit better. I'm with you on that. I think he's starting to come around at least, and even his finish, it was pretty good. Like he still had to open himself up. He still had a lot to do. So. Yeah, credit to Luis Felipe. Next, I don't know if it's really a controversial play, though there was some arguments on this on about this that I seen on Twitter. Was the penalty decision? Another penalty for Sporting. I think that's our 12th this season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah. So what did you think? What did you make of the penalty? There's some arguments that Luis Felipe had already headed the ball before the contact. And completely missed. But how do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the argument that exists for it being a PK is that they're both going for the ball. He beats him to the ball, and the guy cleans him out. I mean, if you are dribbling in the box and the defender goes for the ball, you touch the ball past him and he takes you out. I mean, it's a PK. If you're rounding the keeper and the keeper's going for the ball, and you touch it past him and he takes your legs out, it's a PK. They're both going for the header. Philippe gets there first. He puts his header off target, but it doesn't matter. To me, it's a PK. I mean, it's unlucky for the defender. He was just trying to win the ball, going up for a header that was up for grabs. But he gets there late and really takes out Luis Felipe, and Bruno Fernandes, slotted home.
Yeah, cool and calm again. I sort of noticed that, like, sort of the technique on how he shoots like these penalties kind of reminds me of Bas Dost when he does that little hop,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was Bruno teaching Bas Dost, if it was Dost teaching Bruno.
It was Jesus. Remember
Jesus, exactly.
Jesus taught Bas Dost. That's what he always said. So I guess Bas Dost taught Bruno Fernandes. So that means that indirectly Jesus taught Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, for real. Or you can say, Jesus working another miracle. You know what I mean? But yeah, I agree. Yeah. Mad unlucky, but I think the defender should be more aware. I mean, he's kind of jumping in there recklessly. I mean, the header was already won by Luis Felipe. I think he shouldn't have done that. And yeah, I agree. A clear penalty, like you said. Back on the Bruno Fernandes goal, he ties Frank Lampard's record of 27 goals for a midfielder in a season. An incredible feat as it is. I think we still have another 7 games to go. So I think it's the way, especially his form now, safe to say Bruno Fernandes is going to pass that. Is it going to come this weekend against Abs away? We always do struggle away. What do you think, Chris?
I definitely think that there is a good chance that he's going to score. If he plays, there's a good chance he's going to score. So it's tough to bet against him. I think he's gonna finish at over 30 goals, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
So I think the interesting thing to see is because Bruno Fernandes has he's involved in 42 goals this season. So whatever 42 minus 27, to his 15 assists as well. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how many assists Frank Lampard had during his 27 goal season.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Because that's definitely worth taking a look at as well. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's going to smash the record. I mean, Lampard, he wasn't my favorite player, but he's undoubtedly, a great midfielder. So it's good company to have up there.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's obviously that that argument that Bruno Fernandes is doing it in a quote unquote tin pot league. whereas Lampard did it at the best of the best. But I mean, it's safe to say it's only a matter of time before Bruno Fernandes moves on to either England or wherever a top league in Europe, and really proves his worth. But finally, I mean, really the last talking point of the game. There's a good game on our part that literally there's barely anything to talk about. But another goulash from Wendell, as the kids say, it was Wendell-ful.
Update on that point that I just made.
Yeah.
Frank Lampard had 27 goals and 18 assists. So involved in 27 plus 18. Sorry, I can't do that in my head. 45. 45.
And Bruno was what? 40?
42.
42.
So he's tied in goals and he's 3 off the assist pace.
The assists, yeah.
So yeah, definitely think that he has a chance to smash that record. Really.
Yeah. A lot of games left too. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, back to the Wendell goal. Take me through that goal. What did you think? Another assist from Bruno Fernandes too.
Yeah. It was a great goal by Wendell. He hit one of those. I believe it was in the Taça da Liga game against Feirense. So we know that he has that cracker in him. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that he was able to score his first goal in the league for us this season. I think he has 3 in all comps. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a great hit. Great find. Bruno Fernandes played it through like three people there, cut it back. Wendell takes a great first touch, and he buries it. I mean, there's not much more to say about it. It's a great hit. I mean, we've been linked to this keeper in the past, Leo Jardim. He didn't. I'm not gonna say it's his fault or anything, but I mean, he didn't impress me by any means. No. He picked the ball out of the net more than he saved it. Renan Ribeiro had more saves than him.
Though he had 2 shaky saves.
Yeah,
especially there was one in the second half where he
kind of slipped under him.
Oh my God, yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, at least Renan Ribeiro was like getting a hand on stuff.
Yeah,
had a couple nice saves. I mean, I don't. I mean, if we go out and spend $3 million or whatever on this keeper, that's stupid and unnecessary.
Oh yeah. Yeah, agreed. I mean, he's had a good season too. Like, to be fair to the kid, but as of late, especially with Riwav really not doing that well, he's sort of been not looking good either. But yeah, we definitely, especially with Luis Max in the youth team doing well, there's no reason, and our financial difficulties as it is, there's no reason we should be wasting $3 million on this guy.
No.
Yeah. So, anyways. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say just it's worth investing in a keeper because I think that this is probably Salon's last season.
Yeah.
So that leaves you with Max and Renan in the first team, and so you're going to need to replace, replenish the stock of youth goalkeepers. I know there's that other keeper who's
Joe Souza, I think.
Yeah, he's been in the squad a couple times, never played. But I mean, if you want to go out and buy, an 18-year-old keeper from somewhere, and kind of start, grooming him to be the next backup or the next maybe a future starter, I definitely think that. I mean, it's definitely worth investing. It's not like we have an overstock of goalkeepers, but I mean, that guy wouldn't be coming here to be the U23 goalie,
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, same. And then he sort of addressed it after the game, where Kaiser was forced to make 3 subs, 2 of them especially that none of us really liked. Though I kind of understood it at the time, even before he announced the injuries. But what did you make of? Bruno Gaspar for Marcos Acunha, Jeremy Mathieu for André Pinto. Of course, tired legs, injury. But could he have maybe forced a Geraldo in there? Maybe kept Acuna for a bit or maybe dropped somebody else. What did you think of the substitutions?
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with Matthew in particular is he if he plays several games in a row, he's always going to be at risk
Exactly.
for this type of thing. He and Quintron both reminded me of this. Quintron when he was with us. You know, every time they're like stretching their leg to try to get to a ball, or they're sliding to clear the ball, or they're making a challenge where they're kind of straining themselves. You know, I'm holding my breath because I think that they're going to get injured. I think that Quintron and Matthew's hamstrings are both made out of like rubber bands, and they're just waiting to snap. You know, it's like I want to see them out there. It's like Quintron, we want to see him out there. Matthew, want to see him out there, but I know that they're so prone to these muscular injuries. It's almost a matter of when it's going to happen next, not if it's going to happen. So hopefully, it seems like Matthews is more preventative. So hopefully, he'll be able to recover, you know, without missing any time. And hopefully, I mean, maybe if he stayed the full 90, that wouldn't have happened, or he felt it starting to go, so he has to come out. Acuna, I just think he was gassed. He's been running through brick walls for like a month straight. It was only a matter of time, and maybe he deserved a rest. Anyways, so it's unfortunate because I would have liked to see Shiku. I would have liked to see Pedro Marques. Like I was hoping, like this was the type of game where we would have had more of an opportunity than other games to kind of see these players in action. And I mean, fuck it. I mean, I'd love to see Pedro Marques running against tired and dejected Rio Ave defenders up 3-0. I mean, it's the perfect time. So it's just kind of unfortunate that that those subs had to be used. And honestly, I thought Borja really could have done some serious damage to his leg or his knee.
Same.
It looked like he hyperextended his knee. So I don't even understand why he finished the first half if he was hurt. It's kind of reckless. Because he was out for a good like 5 minutes on the sideline, and then
he got stretchered off too.
Yeah, and then he came back in for like 5 minutes or like 8 minutes to finish the second half, and then he went out at halftime. It's like, why is he even going back in there if he potentially hyperextended his knee? So I mean, hopefully serious injury was avoided with that because it looked pretty bad. But I think if there was some sort of ligament damage or anything like that, we would have heard about it by now. So I'm hoping that he's all right.
I think his little niggle, hopefully it's just a little niggle, but his injury I think is what really affected Sheik Geralds from coming in. Because I think if he doesn't get injured, Kaiser does the same 2 substitutions. He gets rid of Marcos Acuna and he gets rid of, maybe for Jovan this time, and then he'll also get rid of Mathieu. Because I understood, though, even during the game, I mean, I wanted to see Geralds, don't get me wrong, but I understood those. You know, like you said, Acuna's been running through a big brick wall for months now. I think he hasn't stopped playing since the rumors of him going to Zenit sort of disappeared. And then Mathieu, I mean, 1, he's coming back from injury, and 2, of course, like we said, he's 35 years old. So you also got to take care of him too. Like, so I understood the subs as disappointing as it was to not see Shiku, but hopefully, I also seen another comment on Twitter, so I'm going to kind of steal that point, was that, you know, Wendell also had to, you know, wait a solid year and a half before really coming into his own and making the starting 11. So I'm hoping, you know, in a personal level, she's sort of taking it on the chin and remaining patient, and hopefully, the season, you know, we only have so many more games left, but if not this season, next season, he can really start coming into his own, and we can really start seeing more of him because he looked super interesting. And at Rio Ave especially, like he looked like the player we needed. So yeah, disappointing there, but I sort of got it as well.
You know what the counterpoint to that argument is?
What's up?
Ryan Gauld is the counterpoint to that argument. Similar
mold. Today he has a goal. He got a goal and an assist.
For the Hibernian reserves, he did.
Oh yeah, for the reserves. I thought it was for the senior team. Never mind.
No, I thought it was too at first, and then I looked into it more. It was for the reserve team. He came off at half, so slight work for Ryan.
Yeah,
45 minutes, goal and an assist. Drew 2-2 against Rangers. He is, in his defense, though. He is coming back from injury. That's why he's with the reserve.
Yeah, he's been plagued with injury too. To be fair,
yeah. So
like every time he was having a breakout season at Stubal too, and then even at Avj, he'd have one good game, 2 good games, and then boom, injured for like 2-3 months. So
yeah, he really got
sucks.
fucked. He really got fucked during that falling out with Stubal, and then they recalled him from loan.
Yeah.
When he actually was starting to play a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he's just been inconsistent. Massive potential. Attacking mid like Chiku. I just hope that, I love him, but there is a reasonable chance that he's never going to make it at Sporting, and he'll be a great option for a mid-table Portuguese league team. And at some point, we have to kind of decide, like, unselfishly, what's best for his career, because he's not getting any younger. So I think that next season is definitely going to be a pivotal season for him. Next preseason, really, because if he doesn't have a good preseason, he's out on loan again. So I'm pulling for him. I like him. I like what he plays. We're gonna have a hole to fill at attacking mid. So even Gald will be back in the mix theoretically. Coming back from loan. So I these guys are YouTube superstars in my eyes, and I like to see them put it on the field for Sporting.
Yeah, agreed. And it's not even only Gald. We also have Rafael Barbosa, who's doing really good at Paços Ferreira too. So,
true.
Yeah, there's a ton of players in that position. So yeah, you're right on that. Anyways, actually, quickly back to Mathieu. I'm sort of going all over the place, but fuck it. Rumors are if we can maintain him for next season, or we're looking to maintain him for next season, but we're also looking to lower his wage. One, if we don't lower his wage, do you think we should still keep him? And even if that does come through, if we get a 3 to 5 million euro deal for a 35-year-old, should we take it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that there might have been some misreporting on that initially, at least. So I think that 3.5 mil is his salary. So Sporting would be shaving 3.5 mil if he were to go, which in my eyes would essentially be the Montero Nani departure, which is just terminate the contract. He goes back home. So yeah, that is probably what would happen in the event that he leaves. I wouldn't expect to see any transfer revenue from that. I think that it is worth noting that he does have another year on his contract. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, Sporting could do nothing and still maintain him if they were just willing to continue his salary. And then it's obviously, then the debate becomes, if you're paying a 35-year-old center back as one of your higher paid players on the team and he's constantly hurt, is he worth it then? Obviously, he's a great player. He's a great center back. He's one of our better defenders. You notice that we are definitely better and more secure when he's on the field.
Exactly.
But it's the value proposition of, is him potentially missing like a third of the season, best case scenario, worth it? It's definitely a real conundrum. What do you think?
Man, it's like you said, it's really tough. To me, I think apart from Bruno Fernandes, Mathieu's our most important player. That little stretch of bad form that we had, it's no coincidence that it sort of got repaired with Mathieu coming back into the side, and that we looked a lot worse with Mathieu out. Like you said, he does have an extra year in his salary. So if we can't drop it, I say we maintain it. It's worth the risk, because you can really say that about anybody. We can say we'll try to keep Bruno Fernandes. We'll sign him onto a higher deal or whatever to keep him for one more season. But then if he blows his ACL, all that money for nothing. So injury always plays a risk. But of course, with Mathieu being 35, obviously the odds are a bit higher, or a bit stacked against him. So, yeah, I mean, if he can't lower his wage, I think we should still keep him. But if like the rumors earlier on in January, with Monaco being interested more or less for 3, 4, 5 million coming in, especially towards the 4 or 5 million mark for a 35-year-old. I mean, I'd take it, but it's then scary to see what we might be spending that money on. Because if it's for another Ilati, then we might as well just keep him.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think it's going to come down to. I think it's going to come down to his decision.
Yeah.
It's going to be up to him if he wants to go home to France to be like a player manager for Nantes or whatever club it was, or Sochaux or whichever one it was. I mean, clearly they've set the precedent that if you want to do that they'll let you. And in the meantime, they're obviously down to save the salary since they're shaving money everywhere. So obviously, I mean, I hope that he wants to come back. I mean, he hasn't been champion with us. He's won a couple titles, obviously, but he hasn't won the big boy. And I mean, he can go and coach after that. I mean, this is probably his last professional contract. Maybe he'll sign a 1-year deal with that French team and then kind of kick back and relax. Be more of a mentor than a player. But I mean, I hope that he decides to stay on, and I hope that he looks at the project as worth his time and his rubber band thighs time.
Yeah, I mean, there's also I don't know if it's rumors or whatever. I've seen something on RTP saying that he's also looking to sort of be, I don't know if it's the board of directors, or he's trying to play some sort of role into Sporting after his playing career. So I think they were also taking that into account too on the restructuring of his contract. So I mean, if he's trying to coach, I mean, the under 20, I mean, I like the under 23 coach, but I mean, fuck that guy. But let's make Mathieu happy, you know?
Yeah. No, there's a spot for him to stay on if he wants to stay on. I mean, I think like Louison and Benfica is a great example. Like if you want a spot here, there's a spot here. It's up to you.
Yeah, it's a good point. All right, and then back towards the game, just for 2 more questions. One, do you think that's our best performance under Kaiser?
I don't necessarily think it's the best performance under Kaiser. Maybe that absolute demolition in the Europa League might be.
Agreed.
There was also a couple other good games in the beginning. I mean, I thought that Benfica game was
pretty good.
Was well played by Kaiser, especially. I mean, it showed that he adapted. He learned from his mistakes the first couple goes around. I mean, he had to take an ass whooping to kind of learn, but I mean, he approached that game tactically the exact way that he should have. So, I mean, as far as like a complete performance, we're dominating a team that we should be dominating. We're at home. We played them off the pitch. I mean, it's a short week too. I mean, we played a game in midweek. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the best, like most complete performance that he's had in a while, for sure. I'll say that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a clean sheet, which is rare enough, no matter how good we perform. So yeah, it's definitely, like you said, one of the best, not the best, I'd agree, but one of. And last but not least, that's 6 straight wins. Kaiser's best back in I think November, December-ish was 7 straight wins. So we're coming close to that. Is it too soon to say Kaiser ball is back, or should we hold off, to learn from our mistakes last time?
Well, I think that saying that Kaiser ball even existed in the first place was probably premature.
Good point.
Because it fell off a cliff quickly, kind of after we started prematurely celebrating that. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely. I mean, his numbers are kind of evening out. He had that one rough month where we dropped like 8 points or whatever, and that kind of killed our title pursuit. And we were eliminated from the Europa League shittily against a trash team. But I mean, yeah, I mean, he's looking like on paper. If you just took the average, like games played, wins, won a cup in the final of another one. I mean, it's looking a lot like just a pretty good season, like in a vacuum. Obviously it's frustrating, and when you consider that the losses really weren't evenly dispersed, it was like good, bad, good. There wasn't like an average there. It's kind of frustrating, but if you were to just like look at the season at the end of the year, like games played, wins, like goals scored, whatever, it's looking like it's hard to argue that it's a bad season from him, especially considering the team that he took over in the position that he took over. Not necessarily classification wise, because obviously we were right up there with Pizzeto just scrapping horrible wins. But it's not. We know what would have happened if Pizzeto stayed on. They would not have stayed there. They would have crashed off as well. That wasn't sustainable. Yeah, I mean, he definitely is just. I mean, I think he's on for next season for sure.
Yeah.
And just good results to close out the year is just just kind of adding to his resume at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I've already seen like murmurs of people saying if Kaiser doesn't win the Taça Portugal, he's out of here. I'm not buying any of that. I think one, not only from the way he speaks, from his interview on Sporting TV. And even when Varandas mentions him every now and again, it seems like, they're considering next season already. Like they're sort of scrapping the season for him and, giving him proper, and which is good, properly giving him the right assurance of, listen, you're here for next season, go about it as you will. So I'm going to agree with you. He's been doing good for a guy that's come in, took over a team that wasn't his. Like you said, it wouldn't be sustainable. Even though we were up there and we tied 1-1 against Benfica, I mean, you compare that first performance against Benfica to any three, and I know we lost 2 of them, and one of them was horrific, but you compare them to any 3, and the performance was a lot better in terms of us like trying to play eye to eye with them. Because with Pizzeto, we scored a penalty, and before that, nothing really happened. After that, nothing really happened. We just sat deep. So I gotta credit him for the initiative, for trying to like I said, play eye to eye with Benfica. So yeah, I think like you said, and maybe it is too ridiculous to say Kaiser Ball ever existed, but I definitely think we're finally hitting that good form, and Kaiser's definitely learned from his mistakes, or sort of you can see how he's adapting to Portuguese football as it is, because we're not heavy, like let's go all out and attack like we were when he first came. We're now holding possession better, not going gun-ho crazy, but we're staying a bit more deeper. So credit to Kaiser, and I hope I hope we can continue this form and talk shit and do the hashtag Kaiser Ball and have that fucking picture of his face on like the Jesus Christ body sort of come back to fruition, because that shit was funny. I'm not gonna lie. November, December was a funny month for that. But anyways, we got 3 points ahead of Braga this weekend with their loss to Moreirense. 6 games left remaining in the season. I'm gonna go through Sporting's remaining fixtures and then Braga's remaining fixtures. I'm gonna ask you if it's safe to say Sporting's nailed on for third. So first with Sporting, we're going away to Aves on Saturday, and then we're also another away game to Nacional the following week, and then we receive Guimarães at home, which will be a tough game, and then we go away to Belenenses SAD, and then we receive Tondela at home, who got massive 3 points today, has to be mentioned, on their survival race. And last game of the season, we face Porto away. And Braga will face Tondela at home this weekend. They'll go away to Feirense, and then they'll face Benfica at home, go away to Marítimo, go away to Boa Vista, and then get Portimonense at the end of the season. So, I mean, if you compare the two, I think it's safe to say Sporting has the toughest fixtures. But Chris, what do you think? Third place basically nailed on, or?
Yeah, I do think that it's relatively safe. Obviously, we still have to play the games, but the thing is, Braga not only has to equal us, but they have to pass us.
Yeah.
Because we have the tiebreaker on them, and we're now three points clear of them.
And we also have the goal difference ahead of them as well.
Yeah. So I mean, if we both finished with the same points, we'd be ahead of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's say you factor in we lose to Porto. They already lost to Benfica. The game didn't happen yet. They already lost. So I mean, other than that, I mean, let's just say we tie Guimarães then. And then, I mean, the rest of the games I think are pretty manageable. I mean, same for them, but at the same time, their season pretty much just crashed and burned in the span of like a week. Knocked out of the cup, lost to Porto, lost to Moreirense. So that's 3 straight losses that effectively end their league charge, possibly take them out of third, and eliminate them from the cup. So that's a tough week. It might be the end of Abel as their coach. So I mean, they at the same time they don't really have crazy motivation. I mean, it's not like we do in the league more than they do, but I think that it's a tough week to bounce back from all at once. And I do think that we have the upper hand now. We've made 6 points up on them in 2 games, and we really should be finishing third.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, are you of the few that still believe if it's mathematically possible, we shouldn't give up the dream, or do you think 8 points? It's a little too much to ask. What do you think?
The thing for me about the 8 points is that it's 8 points for 2 teams. So they both have to completely tank. So I do think that it's definitely possible, maybe in a best case scenario, for us to catch one of them. And let's just say we are within 3 points of Porto in that last game. If we're within 3 points of Porto in that last game, Benfica are champions. So that could end up being a massive game. I mean, it could end up being a massive game regardless. And I was actually thinking about this the other day. Like, we could determine the title race if they're still tied. Like, do we owe it to Benfica to beat Porto to make Benfica champions? We shouldn't even field a team for that game. We should just put the reserves out there.
I agree.
And assuming that we're at least 3 points ahead of Braga as well, because theoretically, if we lost and they tied us, we would still keep third. So, I mean, I can't say that I feel good about potentially handing the league to Benfica for us to gain nothing from it, But if Porto is right there, they've fallen off or whatever, or in vice versa, if Benfica's fallen off and Porto is all clear, and then maybe they're just kind of dicking around with their hair painted blue because they're already champions, and then we can beat them and potentially pass Benfica. So yeah, I mean, we could be major players down the stretch, and in the event that they're still tied, I can't say that I have any love for either team, but I would say that I probably hate Benfica more. Don't like Porto, don't like Braga, but in the event that they're tied, man, imagine we beat Porto and just give the title to Benfica. That's a scenario I don't want to be involved with. So hopefully we're settled by then.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the only saving grace is that Benfica's ahead anyways right now on goal difference. So
true.
But yeah, I agree. It would really fucking suck. But I also agree that if we're clear 3 points, I find it really difficult to believe that Benfica and Porto in their last 6 games are going to drop 8 points. So I think so long as we have third settled, I think we then fuck around and just we put Jefferson at left back, we put Bruno Gaspar at right back, We put Pinto and Ilori in the middle, and we fucking pray we don't get slapped. You know what I mean? Like, if there's, especially if Porto's still fighting for first, like we were back in 15-16 when we faced Braga, that last game of the season. You know, we you know,
we smacked him around, but
yeah, exactly. So I mean, if it happens to us, fuck it, man. So if we lose 4-0, but then win in Jamor, I'll take it. But anyways, yeah. I think even though it's still mathematically possible, I don't see that happening. You know, 18 points is still left to play. There's no way they're gonna lose 8 of that, especially if once what we've seen this weekend with an incredible offside goal that I've never seen before in my life. But anyways, I digress. Next question, really, just some transfer rumors. We've been linked with Slimani for I feel like the last year and a half, 2 years, and I was talking to my buddy, a Porto fan nonetheless, but he was sort of telling me maybe we should give up on this Slimani dream. His form from the last few years hasn't been great. You know, in Leicester City, he hit the ground running, but then, you know, slowly but surely, once their manager left, Claude Puel wasn't really interested in Slimani that much. And then he went to Newcastle, was injured, but didn't do much. And now at Fenerbahce, 25 games, 5 goals. And Fenerbahce not doing the greatest in the league, it has to be said, but nonetheless, he isn't scoring the goals. One, I mean, more than just nostalgia, would you take Slimani back seeing these figures? And two, should we give up on this dream of having Slimani back?
It's mostly, yeah. I mean, it's mostly just a question of, is he good anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, I would love to have him back. And I mean, if you look at his seasons since he left at the end of 17, he hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
And we made 25 million off of him. So definitely a great, I mean, that's all-time business. Purchased for like 800K, sold for 25 mil. I mean, it's phenomenal business, especially
I think the only deal better than that was Ruben Semedo for 15, seeing as he's a gunman, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, that's really the question, is Slimani even good anymore? It's understandable why he wants to come back. He wants to go back and play for pretty much the only team over the course of his career where he's had consistent form.
Yeah.
He is 30 years old now. He has had 3 bad seasons in a row. I mean, I'll take him back. Obviously, if the loan fee isn't anything ridiculous, like I'm not paying like 1.5 mil for a loan for him, you know. So obviously it has to be a team-friendly deal. But he seems like he's trying to kind of force his way back. Obviously Leicester doesn't want to just pawn him off for nothing. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's still their record transfer, which is fucking amazing considering those English teams are literally printing money in the basement of their stadiums. So they don't want to just let their record transfer just walk. You know, especially if he has something to give. So I think that Leicester should view this as an opportunity to potentially get their striker. You know, if he goes to Sporting and has a good season, then maybe you can salvage something from him. But I mean, if you're just gonna turn around and loan him out to fucking Cardiff City, I mean, you might as well just loan him to Sporting, you know, because he knows where he's going. He's familiar with the team. You know, he's familiar with the league. So there's no point in doing that. If you're going to loan him anyways, you might as well loan him where he's asking to go, where he's had form in the past. So yeah, I mean, I'm obviously open to it. We need attacking reinforcements this summer, especially not guaranteed, but likely that Bastos will be moving on. So that literally leaves us with 1 striker on the roster under contract. So we're gonna obviously had to add to the position, and you know, I wouldn't mind seeing him. I mean, maybe he's not the starting 11 talisman that he once was, but I mean, if you have Slimani, you know, coming off the bench, I mean, I think you can probably do worse than that. So, and you don't owe him anything. He's on loan. So yeah, I mean, you really don't have much to lose unless the loan fee isn't team friendly. But I mean, it's in Leicester's best interest to try to get him to have some consistent form. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even reputation alone might put some fear in some of the teams that he'll come up against. I mean, I'm pretty sure Porto fans will still shit themselves if he comes back, whether he's good form or bad. But I mean, interesting that you said about Bas Dost. You really think he's going this summer or what?
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I hope that he gets back in the team and has at least one or two good performances before the year is over.
Yeah.
More so of just an audition for other teams, because his form this season isn't exactly going to have people lining up trying to outbid each other.
Yeah.
He obviously has a great goal scoring record. He's Sporting's most expensive transfer of all time. And there's definitely space there to turn a profit. But I mean, he is 29. He is having the worst season he's had in a few years. And he's been very, very poor the last 3 months. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely hurts his value. So that's why I think it'd be important to see him back in the team and, maybe score one or two goals before the season's out, just kind of to remind people that, this guy can still play.
Yeah. Yeah. I it's tough. I think if he goes lights out, because he started the season off pretty well. When he came back from injury, he was scoring, consistently
Yeah,
and
he
stuff like
did.
that.
I mean, he's
So,
still in the top 5 scorers in the league, and he's played
yeah,
half the games. So
exactly. He's been out for a long time. So for him to even be on I don't know if he's third now or fourth but regardless, somewhere near the podium of top goal scorers of the league, it's still impressive. Seeing especially how many months he's been out for. But yeah, the thing is with me, I think unless he really comes back and starts scoring and starts shining again, I don't see him leaving, because I think we'll definitely want to have to turn a profit. If we're gonna sell our most expensive transfer, I think we have to sell him for more than 10. And it's gonna be tough, seeing that he's like you said, he's 29, he's getting up there in age. So I mean, we might cut our losses with them. I don't see it, but we'll see. We'll see. Last, but or actually not last, but Bruno Fernandes for 70 million. Good deal, bad deal. What do you think? To potentially to Manchester United, by the way, Man U, Juventus, and I think Liverpool interested in him. I could be wrong with Liverpool, but I know United and Juventus for sure. So yeah, 70 mil. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, if we end up getting 70 mil for him, I think that is a good deal.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't get 70 mil by asking for 70 mil. You get 70 mil by asking 85
Correct.
and then
Yeah.
getting 70. So if you say 70, you end up getting 55.
Yeah.
So hopefully negotiations are done smartly. But yeah, I mean, that would by far make him the largest transfer in Portuguese league history. He's having a record-breaking season. If at the end of the day he leaves for 70 mil, you're not going to hear any complaints from me
Me
about
neither.
that.
Yeah. And realistically, do you see it? Do you think we can get that, anywhere near that? Even, okay, I won't say 50, but the 60 to 80 range. Do you think we can even get that? I mean, we are a team in the Portuguese league. We're not, this isn't La Liga. I mean, it's a good league, but I don't know. There's always this reputation. If it's not England or Spain, we maybe don't waste that much money. But our team shouldn't waste that much money, I should say. So yeah, realistically, do you think we can get anywhere near that, or?
Yeah, I actually do. You look at some of the players that have been bought from Italy. I mean, yeah, there's the top teams in Italy, but I mean, it's a top heavy league like Portugal. I mean, if you bang in a couple goals against Spal or Cagliari, you're not, fucking fantastic. So I mean, Pogba went for 100 mil.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's Pogba. But I mean, Bruno Fernandes is still young. I mean, to be fair, he has put together several good seasons in a row. This season's
Yeah,
just absolutely ridiculous. He's pretty much the MVP of every game he plays in. Um, you can see it. Yeah, I mean, I actually do think that it's realistic for us to get 70 mil. And I mean, realistically, if he's in maybe if he's on Sevilla, I think that he easily goes for
goes
like
for that.
100 mil,
Yeah,
maybe. So I definitely think that it's realistic, and I hope that we don't sell ourselves short in that aspect.
yeah, I agree with you 100% there. Anyways, last but not least, today we were linked with Matias Zarache from Racing Club in Argentina, who just won their league. I'll give you some stats on him. So from 23 games, he scored 3 goals and assisted 3. He has 3 yellow cards, 1 red card, surprisingly. He has 1.5 shots per game and 88% passing success. He's won only 2 man of the matches this season. Let's see. Defensive stats: 2.5 tackles per game, 1 interception per game. I mean, he's not really a defensive player. Offense, let's see. Key passes: he has about 1 key pass per game, 1.5 dribbles per game. Let's see. Passing. What's this one? Passes per game. He has about 30 or 39 successful passes per game. Not a lot of crossing details. So yeah, decent stats. He has an 18 million release clause, but there were talks about us buying him for 15, I think. But Atletico and Lazio are also in for him. What do you make of the young winger / attacking midfielder?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not super familiar with him. Um, but I just don't see us spending that type of money
Yeah,
on anyone this summer. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, Racing just put together a pretty incredible historic season for or in Argentina this year. And I mean, I'm not going to doubt that he's good. And I mean, obviously, there's a history of players coming from that league, and I mean, even from that team. That's where Acuna came from.
yeah,
We paid about like 12, I think, for Acuna. So I mean, it wouldn't be completely unprecedented. But I mean, especially for that position as well. I mean, maybe it's possible, or maybe we send a player or something. But if there's the Atletico Madrids in the world kind of in a bidding war for this guy, I don't see us breaking the bank
yeah.
to try to get him. But I mean, if he's going to be like our marquee signing, like this is the guy, this is the Bruno Fernandes replacement. Um, he's the future. Right now, we're gonna splash the cash, and hopefully this investment pays off. I hope that they're sure of themselves if that's the case, but that's really the only way I see that happening.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, I think I've watched about 2 games. I didn't necessarily notice him. But I mean, I think it's gonna come to a point where we're gonna be linked with a ton of attacking midfielders because I think the media are just gonna try to link us to them because of a potential Bruno Fernandes departure, and maybe it's true. Maybe we are scouting him and we're preparing a bit for the future. I mean, I'm just expecting a ton of attacking midfielders to be linked with Sporting in the coming months. So yeah, I guess be prepared for that, guys.
And
Uh,
strikers as well.
and strikers for sure. I mean, actually maybe not so much. I think only defenders if Coates really does leave because I'm not too like certain we're gonna be able to keep Coates. I mean, even Matu, but definitely Coates. I think we're gonna look to sell him. There's a few players that I think that are sadly gonna leave this season, but I hope to be wrong. But anyways, yeah. Last topic. there's been a bit of controversy over this. I think especially over our European followers. I think us North American sports fans sort of see things differently. But Chris, talk to me through us changing the naming rights of Avalad to potentially Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of stuff about this. I've seen some foreign Cristiano Ronaldo fanboys
Oh, a ton of them.
like
Sorry
getting like wet over this.
Yeah, like a ton of them. It's crazy how many quote tweets we got of,
Yeah.
oh my God, Cristiano Ronaldo, he's gonna do this. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
Anyway, sorry.
the type of accounts where like Ronaldo is the Avi and
Yeah.
they're only tweeting Ronaldo shit and they probably live in like India, like those types
Yeah.
of accounts.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I think that it's also being a little bit misrepresented. We're not changing the name to honor him. I mean, it kind of might end up being a good fit, especially since, I mean, you touched on it a little bit. Stadiums in North America are all sponsored.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be sponsored or wouldn't be renamed after Cristiano Ronaldo to honor him. It would be a naming rights deal with the CR7 brand, which, as we know, is a massive brand. Cristiano Ronaldo's his brand. He has a clothing line. I mean, he's massive, obviously.
Mm.
So I mean, essentially, CR7 Stadium is the same thing as if we sold the rights to naming for Superbach or NOS, and it was NOS Stadium. It'd be the same type of thing. It just kind of seems like it would be theoretically a good fit just because he came from Sporting. He's a Ballon d'Or winner. He's obviously one of the most decorated players in world history, and he came from here. So naturally, it seems like a good partnership. I tweeted out that Union Madeira, obviously not Ronaldo's club. He played for Nacional, but obviously a Madeira club. They were sponsored by the CR7 Museum on their shirts. So I mean, it's that type of deal. I mean, we're not just. I've seen it just very, very massively misrepresented by certain accounts. Like changing it in honor of their hero was one of them, and I was like, all right. I mean, if Ronaldo wants to pay us, 15 million euros a year to have his name on the stadium, it's something you want to take a look at, and it's something you want to take a look at if any company or brand wants to do that. And obviously, in America and Canada, and even England, Emirates Stadium.
True. Yeah. I mean, Bayern Munich is Allianz Arena too.
Yeah.
So the bigger teams have sort of done this.
Yeah,
it's not new.
Yeah, it's not an unheard of revenue stream, but I think that in Portugal, it's a relatively unheard of thing. So I think that this Ronaldo CR7 thing might kind of be a good way to ease into that kind of era of new ways to generate revenue, rather than just straight out going for it. Like, this is Vodafone Arena,
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the partnership makes sense as far as Ronaldo's history with the club, and his connection to the club, starting here. So I mean, as far from that perspective, I kind of view it as it's like a happy medium between generating the revenue, creating a new revenue stream, and kind of easing this new era in Portuguese marketing, without just going for it straight away. So yeah, I mean, that's what I think about it. I'm definitely open to new ways to generate revenue, and I mean, naming rights for a stadium, that's a massive deal.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look up naming rights for, stadiums in America, stadiums in England, stadiums in Germany, they're paying tens of millions of dollars each year. So if Ronaldo wants to sign like a 80 million four-year deal, I mean, I'll take that. I mean, that's good money for the club that you're just basically creating a a new revenue stream that didn't exist, and now all of a sudden you got 80 mil coming in over 4 years. So I mean that's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, I agree. And I jokingly said it, but on Twitter, but I kind of also believe it too. Like, one, it sort of feels like we sold our soul to the devil as it is. So fuck it, right? Might as well. But more so than that, I mean, we think about sort of you can go back to West Ham. It's the Bowling Ground or whatever it was, but people always refer to it as Upton Park. I mean, it's not like overnight we're gonna stop saying Vamos ao Estádio José Alvalade. I think we'll always keep that name between us fans. It's just more of like you said, it's a naming right. I mean, I grew up so here in Toronto. I grew up with calling where the Jays play the Sky Dome. Now it's the Rogers Center. I think where the Leafs play their hockey. At first, I think it was also Air Canada Center. Then it turned to Rogers Center. Now it's Scotiabank Arena or some shit like that. But at the end of the day, the Leafs won. Okay, we're not expecting this amount of money, but the Leafs won or got like $100 million for that or some shit like that, some stupid figure like that. So I mean, especially with Sporting in the financial crisis that we're in now, I mean, yes, maybe it is a very North American like thought process or whatever it is, but I mean, fuck it. We might as well. Again, like I said, we can always refer to it as the José Alvalade. To us, it'll always be the José Alvalade século XXI. But, I mean, if CR7 wants to put his fucking brand on it and pay us the big bucks, yeah, fuck it. I mean, we might as well. Because at the end of the day, we need a win. And for that, especially now in the modern game, we need money for that. And we're not going to be able to do that with the debt that we're in. So I'm also all for it. I'm with you there.
And Benfica's going to do it. I know that they're going to do it because I've seen rumors about it going back a couple years. Like that's going to be the Emirates, Stadio Emirates or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, Benfica's already getting 60 million more euros a year just because they're participating in the Champions League each year. Are we really just going to let them get another 100 mil that we're just because of naming? Like we might as well pioneer it. Like there's no reason to sit behind while our rivals innovate. I mean, we should be the innovators.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to be fair, Sporting has almost always been the innovators. If we think about it, we were the first ones to fight for VAR. We were the first ones to really invest into our academies and make it one of the best in the world. Benfica is the one that then, followed us in that aspect. So, I mean, I'm with you there. Why not innovate? Why not be the first ones? Yeah, I agree. And I think Steph also agrees too. I think if I remember correctly from prior podcasts, it might be a North American thing. Maybe Patrick next week or whatever might come on and disagree with us there. Though, I mean, being from the UK, he probably won't. But I mean, yeah, like we said, we're for it here. All right, I'm gonna go through the modalidades this weekend, and then we'll go to Twitter questions, and that'll be the podcast. So quickly, fucking stupid, fucking stop showing up. Sorry, this stupid Sporting website something keeps showing up. Okay. For the under 23s, we actually lost to Rio Ave 2-1. We're in third place in the under 23 division. I believe we're 3 points off first. I'm not 100% sure on that. Anyways, the juniors under 19 beat Alverca 3-2. The under 17s tied 2-2 to Benfica. The under 16s beat Estoril 3-1 away from home. And then the under 15s beat Guimarães 3-0 away from home. In futsal, the seniors beat Fundão 3-0. And special mention to, I believe it was Eric Mendoza. First goal was an absolute banger. But anyways, Sporting won 3-0. We're still in second place. I think a point behind Benfica, if I'm not mistaken. Football Feminina. Sporting the senior team actually lost to Vermoin. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. 5-4. In a handball, the B team beat Samora Korea 41-22. In hockey, the senior team beat Amatori. I don't know why I'm mispronouncing these names, but Amatori 8-1. Volleyball, the senior team, an impressive 3-0 victory over Benfica. In volleyball, for the male team, for the female team, they beat Espinho 3-1, and then they also beat Guimarães 3-2. Let me see here.
By the way, that's the volleyball championship. So that was game one. We're up 1-0 in the series now. Now back to 2 games at Benfica now.
Yeah. Thanks for actually including that. I forgot about that. And then everything else is really just athletics. So a lot of names to go by. Let me see. Rugby.
This week, the hockey and patins team beat that Italian team Lodi.
That's
8-1. 8-2. So they're into the final 4 of basically the Champions League equivalent, the European Championship for hockey and patins. There will be
actually with Barca.
Three Portuguese teams in the final 4.
Yeah.
Barca versus Porto and Sporting Benfica. End of May. So we'll be playing them in the final 4 of the roller hockey. So that I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to the UEFA futsal final 4. And now I'm really looking forward to that as well. I really hope that we can kind of break our drought in the UEFA Futsal Cup, because we always fucking lose in either the semi or the final. And we are playing Inter Movistar, so tough team, European champions in the past.
They beat us 2 consecutive finals, if I'm not mistaken, right?
We lost to Barcelona in one of the finals.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all good. That was
last year. Last year we lost to them, though. Am I correct? In the final, wasn't that that's Ricardinho's team or whatever?
Yeah, it is Ricardinho's team. Yeah, we got hammered.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe this is our year. We're constantly in the final 4, so hopefully we can bring that one home, because that's huge. Now another European Final 4 for roller hockey, and well represented Portugal, 3 out of 4 teams.
Yeah. I mean, it's safe to say we definitely have the best league in roller hockey with the 3 teams all up there. Definitely better than Spain. So that's all with the modalities, really. And off to Twitter questions that I just had here. Give me one sec. Here you go. First question comes in from our boy Steph, who, as mentioned earlier in the podcast, out in Sin City with his wife. Don't have too much fun, Steph. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. So he says, since we got 65 million, our Sporting is back on track. Our football team and modalities are kicking ass. Do you think we had a financial problem that was affecting the performance of our teams?
No, I don't. I don't think that was the reason that we were underperforming. I mean, I don't really think that was affecting the players. I mean, you see some of these teams that get themselves into terrible financial situations, and it's like, oh, the players' salaries are backed up 4 months. I mean, once you get into a situation like that, I think that obviously affects the players, because this is their livelihood. And if you just stopped getting paid at work, but you had to keep going and giving it your all, it'd be tough. So, I mean, obviously it never escalated to that point. So I don't necessarily think that was the reason for the problems. And I mean, it's not like the situation was completely resolved. We just had a bank loan that was due, and we got another loan from some American asshole. So I mean, it's not like it's infinitely resolved. It was just a Band-Aid, and I don't really think that was affecting anyone's performance.
Agreed. And the last question comes in from our former guest, Joel Da Silva, at JoeLeong_073 on Twitter. He asks, after all the BS these past weeks involving VAR, do you guys think that if they implement microphones similar to what they do in the NFL, where the ref would have to explain their decisions, there would be less mistakes? What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, in the NFL, you still see horrible calls, and they say, pass interference, and it's like if it was. I mean, them just saying it doesn't necessarily fix it. It would just be like he would just come like João Pinheiro, for example, would come out and say, we've determined it was offside, and then we'd see the replay and be like, yeah, it wasn't offside. So I mean, them saying it wouldn't necessarily be the end all be all. I think the real turning point would be is if we had access to the audio while they were looking at the decision. So the discussion in between the referee and the video ref, like, what do you think about this? Like, oh man, he definitely made contact there. Was it enough? Like, that's the audio we need, not just the final decision audio, which the
yeah,
NFL doesn't have that. When the referees go under the hood to take a look at, if the ball broke the plane or whatever, we're not hearing the audio of the decision making process. We're just hearing an explanation of what the decision that they came to. So if the decision that they came to fucking sucks, then them coming out and saying this is our shitty decision doesn't really change anything. But if we had that audio, or even another idea I've seen is having that VAR screen that what we see on the television at home in the stadium
yeah. I was just about to bring that up. Yeah,
on the big screen, so that the players can see, the
yeah,
fans can see. There's way more accountability in that situation, and I don't even think that that's like that controversial. Obviously, having
no,
access to the ref's conversation with the VAR, that might be more controversial, like privacy, like they have to make this decision, like it's between them or whatever. So I mean, I would be for that, but I think it's less controversial to just ask for what the ref's seeing on the big screen. Because if you're in the stadium and they're making a VAR decision, I mean, you're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs while this guy is looking at something that you can't see.
yeah.
So at home we have
We
the
have like little televisions up
yeah,
there,
yeah,
at least in
we
Avalad, and they'll play like the Sport TV, but I'm not too sure if they'll have that in like those smaller stadiums. And then of course, like there's some people that can't get access to those, based on where they're seating, they won't be able to see those replays. So it's only really a small few of fans in the
well
stadium, at
well
least in Avalad.
I don't think that they like basically when you're watching the game on Sport TV, like when they're showing the video review, that is what the ref is looking at. Like
Hmm.
that is like when you're seeing it backed up and then fast forwarded and then changing the angle, like that is what the referee is looking at.
Yeah,
So if you had access, like they don't show that in the stadium, even in Alvalade where we have two nice, like TV screens.
right.
They don't show that. So if that exact camera that we get at home of the referee looking at the VAR was just on the screens, I think that would be huge. Um, and I mean, obviously, Fidance doesn't have a TV screen, so definitely would run into the trouble in some of those stadiums. But yeah, I mean, if it's an available resource for you, I think that there should be as much transparency as possible. And I mean, if you're at the game, you shouldn't have a shittier viewing experience as opposed
Yeah,
to being at home.
yeah. Agreed. Um, so yeah, thank you guys for your questions. And we're towards the end of a podcast. So Chris, quickly take me through your preview and prediction. Our next game against Desportivo de Chaves. We'll be coming up against a familiar face in Augusto Inácio. And luckily, we won't be coming up against another familiar face who's having an incredible season, Mama Balde. But anyways, take me through what do you think the game's gonna unfold to?
Yeah, I mean, Avs is obviously still in the danger zone.
Yeah.
They have
They're sorry,
they've gotten
I'll tell you now. They have 30 points. They're in 12th. And then Nacional, who's now in the last relegation spot, after Tondela's win today, has 27 points. So they're only really 3 points clear.
yeah, they've given themselves some breathing room. Recently they've gotten some points. But yeah, I mean I mean theoretically even Rio Ave with 32 points
Yeah,
is I wouldn't consider them safe quite yet.
me neither.
which is amazing because they're all the way up in ninth place.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean they're looking for. I mean they'll take points in any capacity from this game. They would consider that a good result. But you know, Sporting is rolling. It will be obviously more difficult to go on the road. Who knows the extent yet of Borja, Acuna, or Matthew, or even Baz Doss for that matter. And you know, I do think that it will be a tough game. But it's tough to bet against Sporting right now. As I said in the last podcast, they're rolling, and I'm gonna take them to equal Kaiser's best streak of 7 straight wins, with a 2-0 win.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Sporting at least is red hot. We're playing with confidence, so it's looking good. This season I've been petrified to play away from home just because our away form has been terrible. But I mean, we have been winning away from home as of late. So you know, we're on the up for sure. It's looking good for us. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 3-1 win. Because yeah, I don't see us 2 clean sheets in a row. There's no way we can go for a third. That's impossible. This is Sporting, not a Jose Mourinho, Chelsea or Inter Milan squad that you know can defend a fucking clean sheet. So I'll go with a 3-1 win. And with that, unless anything else is left to be said, that is the end of our podcast. I think a good one between me and you, Chris. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was good.
Yeah, good conversation. Anyways, guys, make sure to always to follow us on Twitter. It's Sporting160_EN. You know, interact with us there. Shout out to those in the comments today with our Aussie Tuga, Jose Costa, Johnny Cineru, and Lauren, I believe, was somewhere here. There she is, right at the top. I don't know if she's still listening because it is late in the UK, but last time I said she wasn't, and she actually was. So please, Lauren, don't talk shit. And guys, thank you very much for listening. See you next time. And of course, Viva Sporting.